Hello, thanks for joining the Career Ready 101 Administrator Tutorials. This tutorial is about once you have created a class, how do you add members to a class, add and assign lessons to a class or assign lessons to an individual student, and put those class lessons on a calendar for your students enrolled in the class. So here we start the class manager. We have just created our class. The class manager from the home page, if we go home, it can also be found if we log in. Make sure you're in the class that you want to be using. To find the class manager, we can go to Setup, Class Manager, and it'll always go to the class manager that is selected here in class. And if it's not, your class is not selected, you can click this drop-down menu, and if you are an administrator, you can see all of the classes within your organization. If you're an instructor, you will be able to see your classes and your classes only. This is the correct class, so I will leave it at that. So here we have our class properties that we can edit all of these by pushing the Edit button next to the heading. But first, I want to add members to the class. I'll do members. So we have no one here on this list. It's because it's showing members only, and we have not put anyone in the class yet. The text on this left side of the page can help guide you if you forget this or you want to go back to the tutorial, you can as well. But so here we have showing members. I want to toggle this drop-down menu to showing all. And now showing all means it'll show all of the students in my organization. So in order to add students to the class, I can either organize this by date created, I can organize it by username. I'm going to organize it by date created, and I can do sort, either ascending or descending. Here we go. So now I'll find a student that I created today at the bottom of the list. And to add the student to the class, I just push this plus sign. Let's add a few students to the class. So I'll push a few of these. There we are. What if I didn't mean to add this last student to the class? Well, how you remove a student from the class is we want to see the students who are in the class first. So we want to go showing members, members of the class. And here, in order to remove a student, I go to this minus sign in the red dot, and I just click it. There we go. Student was removed from the class. So that's how you add and remove students from a class. So next, I want to go to how do I assign lessons to this class? If I don't assign lessons to the class, no one in the class will have any lessons or have any lessons visible to them. So I will go to Agenda and manually add lessons to your agenda. Here we go, assignments for class. And here we have all the courses. Now, to add a class, and if you forget what I say here, or you don't want to go back to this tutorial, on the right side, you always have these helpful hints. So to add a class, there's multiple ways. The first way is if you just want to click all, and you hover over that, it says click to assign all lessons in that lesson. So Introduction to Career Ready 101. I'll click all. Now I see that there's multiple options I have here. I can dictate how many final quiz attempts my students have, if they have to complete the problems, the lessons. With audio, we have three options here. We have on, off, and disabled. if you leave the audio just on off, that is the default setting, the student can toggle it on when they're home, when they're alone, if they have headphones. If it's on, it will by default be on when they go to the lesson, but they'll always be able to turn it off. However, if you disable it, you completely inactivate the ability for students to use the audio. They're not able to. So we'll leave it on off so the students can use audio if they would like. The lesson goal, as in score 75% on the final lesson quiz. So I'll push submit, and there we go. If you see a check mark next to the class, or next to the lesson, the class has been assigned that lesson. Now, another way to assign lessons is, so I'm going to click on Financial Awareness. Here I see there's multiple lessons, or multiple topics within Financial Awareness. One way to assign them is I can click on the lessons that I want assigned. I don't need to click on all of them. So maybe I want all of them except financial planning and investing. I can do that by clicking those checkboxes. These are the same options we had previously, and clicking Save Changes. Now they're assigned. I can X this out up here on this tab, and it'll bring me back to courses. Now I see there's a check mark next to Financial Awareness. It's been assigned. So those are the two ways to assign classes. However, what about this auto? What does that mean? Auto means that there is a pretest involved with this, and it will automatically assign your students lessons as long as you assign them the pretest. So by assigning them the pretest will then gauge where the student belongs at what lesson. Now, I want to click on Reading for Information and see this pretest. So I can auto-assign, and it says here exactly what it will do. It will assign the pretest, which will automatically then assign and exempt lessons based on the pretest score. Here we have the same options and a little explanations. So I want to first talk about what the pretest actually is. The pretest, it's an assessment that is adaptive. It's between 4 and 20 questions, and students need to, or they should, take this before the Reading for Information, Applied Math, Locating Information, and a few other lessons, because Career Ready 101 tries to gauge with how many questions they get correct or incorrect and what they answer correctly, to put them at the correct level. So I can do submit here. So as in levels 1 through 7, put them at the correct level that the student belongs at. If a student scores a level 3, Career Ready 101 will exempt the student from levels 1 and 2, so they can go back and do 1 and 2 if they want, but the assessment has figured out that they don't need to, or they've already mastered that information. And you're assigned level 3, and you need to work up to levels 4 through 7. So you can only take the pretest once and have it exempt you from lessons. You can take it multiple times and attempt it. However, only the first time will it exempt you. Also, the pretest needs to be taken in one sitting. You cannot save it and come back to it. So I push Save Changes. And there we go. So we'll X this out, we'll go back, and as long as we see that there is a check mark, it's been assigned. So those are the 3 ways to assign classes, and all the ones that say auto are the ones that have the pretest. So we looked at how to add students to our class. We looked at assigning lessons to our class. Now, what if we want to assign a lesson just to a student? Push Change, Assign to Student. Here we have all of our students in the system. Now let's click on this little book. What if we want to add Matt? I want to add lessons to Matt's course load. Here we will have a similar page as we just saw with all of the lessons laid out in front of us. We add lessons and remove them in the same way. However, here it says assignments for student Matt Mulligan. So let's give Matt preparing for your career. We can push all if we want all those topics assigned to him. The same options. Push submit. There we go. So they're assigned in the same way, and we just toggle between student and class and this change button right here.